In our last video, I stated that digital transformation is dead. What I was really saying is that digital transformation is no longer relevant as a strategy on its own. That making a single transformation or a single pivot is not going to ensure your future relevance. The pandemic has given us a glimpse of the activities and the vitality that your organization needs to have to be successful in the future. When we start looking at the transformations that we've seen in the healthcare industry with telemedicine. So telemedicine has been moving for quite a while, but since the pandemic, we have seen this hockey stick adoption and forwarding of technology in the delivery of telemedicine. And we've also got great examples in the retail industry. When you look at companies like DSW, who after being told that they were not an essential business, partnered with Hy-Vee grocery chain, which was an essential business, to continue bringing products into the marketplace. And then there's companies like Disney who, after having their cinemas, distribution channel shut down, doubled down and actually made a strategic pivot in their organization, in an alignment and in leadership changes that have really started to focus them on digital distribution. Even though there may have been some radical changes, the pandemic has started advancing a lot of this digital technology adoption, and we're starting to see how that is starting to impact successful businesses. The word that I like to use to describe this is the word dynamism. For me, dynamism, it came from, my exposure to it came from the Cubist movement. But the idea that they were talking about was this characterization of vigorous activity and continuous progress. And when you think about those ideas, those encapsulate where enterprises need to be in order to successfully respond to our modern marketplace, where we've got constant innovation and delivery of new experiences, new technologies, and new demands from consumers. The dynamic enterprise is one that is capable of quickly responding to changes in technology and consumer channel behaviors inherently, and doing that in a natural way. I've created a model of the dynamic enterprise, which gives you the primary concerns that need to be addressed. First, you've got your enterprise systems of record, and that is where your core foundational behaviors live. And this is a set of capabilities and business systems and processes that are not rapidly changing. They are evolving. They are modernizing. But these are not the places where you're looking at applying the patterns of dynamism. This is the place where you're looking at making longer term decisions and more stable representations of business behavior. And then you've got your channels of engagement. And that is where we are seeing crazy changes and evolution in experience and new ways of delivering, and IoT and immersive experiences all going on, where we can see the future is going to hold a lot of changes coming up very quickly. So this is a very rapidly changing area. And then there's the gap in between, where we've got our stable behaviors, our stable capabilities, and then we've got the demands of all of these channels that we're trying to create to satisfy the needs of customers and partners and vendors and employees inside of our company that we're doing business with in order to be successful. That there's this gap, and that is the middle platform, or the middle platforms. And those are the places where we are closing the gap between our inherent capabilities that we have in our systems of record and the demand from our channels of engagement. That's the idea of the middle platforms. It's not the only thing you do in the enterprise, but this is a really intentional place where we're closing the gap in capability and behaviors that are rapidly advancing, where we need to create those to close that gap and deliver those digital channels. And this middle platform needs to be treated very much like your channels of engagement, where we should be evolving them very quickly, and we should have this DNA that allows us to rapidly introduce and evolve new capabilities. That's the second part of it. When you start looking at it horizontally in the model, you've got 4 areas of focus. You've got this idea of innovation, you've got this idea of emergence, standardization, and then deprecation. And these are natural parts of the life cycle that aren't just technology oriented. They're more culturally and organizationally oriented. It's this idea that we should be intentionally in our channel world, in our go-to-market world, and in our middle platform delivery world, innovating. We should be trying new things. We should be trying to figure out how we can quickly, more efficiently, build greater capabilities to satisfy channels, and channels should be trying new things to figure out what successfully engages our customers. So this idea that we've got this intentional area of innovation, and then this idea of how does that in a very intentional way make its way into the enterprise as emergence. And then how do we take things that are emergent, improve them, and then move them so that we can expand them and federate them across the enterprise, and then use them and get the most out of them. And then how do we take those things when they're no longer relevant, when they're no longer providing the value that we built them for, and make a really intentional decision to stop doing those things and put together a plan to deprecate and then sunset those capabilities so we can focus our energy and our resources on the things that are providing the organization the most value. In this channel engagement world and in this middle platform world, it's really important that we start looking at having a healthy inherent life cycle of innovation. And that's the dynamic enterprise. In the next few videos, I'm going to break down each one of these layers and these concepts in the life cycle and explain the different areas that we should be focusing on and what we should be doing to create this inherent life cycle and these capabilities in our stacks to build a just foundationally inherent dynamic enterprise.